Okay.
Everything everywhere has to have a name, because otherwise I can't ask people to go there to work it. So if we need to come in and do the edges, there's no point in me saying, could you go and do the edges in that bit that goes from this garden to that garden?
Yeah.
So this is called the approach, because it approaches somewhere else.
That's fair.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's by Burnham Mauricia.
I think I posted a picture of that fairly recently.
It holds all its flowers on the top of the branches. All the leaves come in underneath.
Gorgeous.
If you plant it away from a wall, then it's perfectly round and it's like a wedding cake.
Aww.
It would be nice to do one maybe out in the park or something at some point.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. Going down this way? Yeah. Just wander down.
Rose garden. So this is the only official rose garden we've got in the garden. There are 4,500 roses, so there's probably more roses in the rest of the garden than there are in the rose garden. But this is where they're the most, the central part of the planting. We would have to come back in a few weeks because you can see the buds are starting to form. So it's not far, not long. But then the standard roses in the centre are white and they're called Macmillan Nurse. And in the beds with the berberis, with the red hedge around it, that's called Anna Livia. And in the keyhole beds, which have the lavender around them and the sundials in the middle, that's called Ainsley Dickinson.
Oh, just over there.
And they're all pink.
Have you ever misspoken and called it Ainsley Harriet?
Oh, yes, yeah. But if you say it quickly and with confidence, no one knows. The George Carter Walk.
So named after the garden designer
Who designed the bed?
and close family friend.
What we should do is walk up this side and look at it from the other way, because Lady Delisle thinks it looks better this way round.
Okay.
That needs pruned back, Budgie. We've left it so that the frosts get through, so there's meant to be frost this weekend, so that's why we haven't done it.
Is that an allium?
That is an allium, but it's
Are we pruning as we go?
it's been got at.
Got at.
Yeah. We also have to do things like on here. This is a ceanothus, and you can see that this is the hard frosts we had. So it's actually damaged some of the. So we'll cut it back now inside its growth. This one on this side is younger. This one died last year. It's a replacement. You can see it survived much better.
Looks softer.
Yeah. But that one will look the same after we've done a prune. It'll catch up.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we're going to try Lady Delisle's view.
Yeah. It does look good because you have the peak in the background of the hedge.
Okay.
It frames it off nicely, doesn't it?
It does look nice this way, yeah.
It does look nice this way.
I mean, she knows her own garden.
But the euphorbia, which is the yellow stuff, that'll stop soon. It flowers for ages, and you can see it starts to go a bit green. So that'll stay up for ages, but once that's finished flowering, we'll cut back the stems that are flowered, and you end up with the new growth underneath. You can see on the one on the left there,
Oh, yeah.
it's just sort of sitting. So all that green growth will stay, and that's next year's flower. Because it won't do much for the rest of the season.
Does it change colour at all? Or will it stay like that?
The foliage will stay the same, but the flowers sort of green off as they get older. And then if we left them, they go brown, but we'll have them before that. last year's growth. So again, what we'll do is we'll chop this back just above, just inside last year's growth. Keeps it nice and dense.
It's very sea anemone-esque.
Yeah. But when this comes up, all of this is all blue flowers for when it flowers. So you have these sort of blue haze coming off it.
When does that one flower?
Later on. So high summer.
Oh, okay. Because I know we said when it first flowered, its first year, we all thought it looked very pastel-y come sort of September time, which was very pretty.
Yeah. No, it's a very quiet.
Which is a bit stark next to the bright pink rhododendron.
Oh, you see, colours in nature can't clash. That's fine.
No.
That's fine. Normally, when we're open, we have the poles, and each one of the poles relates to a part of the family in the past, with their heraldic beastie on top.
Mm.
But because we're open, and because they're made of wood, and there's no one to see it, we've got those in storage.
Keep them nice and safe.
Yeah. Here you can see the box blight. So that browned off area, that's all box blight from last year.
What causes that?
It's a fungus.
Oh.
So anyone with box, this will be rampaging through their garden. So we're feeding it like crazy. And when we do the prune, which will be coming up towards the end of May, we will tidy up every leaf that we can see to try and stop it spreading so quickly.
I wouldn't have noticed had you not pointed it out.
Well, that's very good.
Blue and yellow border.
That's it.
And the tortoise terrace.
And tortoise terrace.
Out there.
And then you've got the rose up there. I don't know if you can see it on your camera. A little sort of flush of yellow flowers.
Yeah, I can do.
That's Banksii lutea, and it's a fantastic rambler. It just goes whoosh, but it only flowers once. But you can see when it does flower, it really goes for it.
You told me once that if I disliked someone, then to give them that because it's very much like bamboo.
That one or the rambling rector. Rambling rector would be even better, which is the one over here.
Is that the one on the garden arch? Sorry.
Over the arch into the apple yard, yeah. Yeah, no, someone you don't like with a small garden, give them that.
It's kinder than giving them Japanese knotweed, isn't it?
The paved garden.
Beautiful little garden. Get a lot of wedding couples that have their photographs on that bench in there and in front of the house, which is lived in. People think it's a prop sometimes, but no, it is lived in.
Yeah. And our wisteria, sort of more hedge trained rather than wall trained, so it's freestanding. That's a really good show actually. It's starting to go over.
So that's where the rambling rector is, up there?
That's the rambling rector, and it will put on feet and feet and feet of growth this year. And we've got the hornbeams, which we've been pruning into a umbrella shape there. You see the one on the left struggling a bit because it's in the shade from the big A.
Oh yes.
And he leans. He's leaning away from it, looking for the light. So.
You said that's one of the issues we have with the George Carter as well, because half of it is normally in the shade.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Because that's basically north, and that's basically south. So
yeah.
North, yeah. So planting the same plants on both sides means that they grow at a different rate, and you know, if you've got something that doesn't like full sun, it might do well on one side but not on the others. It's an interesting challenge keeping them looking as symmetrical as possible.
There's a little bit of wisteria growing out the top of that hedge.
Yeah, it gets away.
It's just rambling off on its own.
Well, we've cut along the back of the wisteria, so there is no wisteria going back into the hedge. So what's happened is in the past it's gone, it's rooted, and now it's growing independently of its original. So we'd actually have to get in the hedge.
Oh no.
And it's one of our renewal projects, so we've been redoing the planting.
I do like this garden. This one especially. Some of your handiwork there, Tony? The
That's
wigwams?
Steve's handiwork, that is.
Ah. Still got your wicker globes out as well.
We've started on it over here, the plant support.
Mm.
Yeah.
And this is the border that goes hot to cold in terms of
So it
colours.
goes red, orange, yellow, pink, and then blue at the bottom.
Oh, we got the orchids are out.
That's an iris.
It is an
It's not an orchid, it's definitely an iris. We have orchids in the greenhouse, but they are definitely irises.
They are definitely irises. I knew that.
Just testing.
There's apple trees up on the edges.
Yeah, we have goblet trained along the actual beds.
Yeah.
And that's so we can have as many trees as used to be in the old bed, but they don't have the same shade issues.
Okay.
And then the trees along the top, apart from the obviously tiny ones, they were here before the new bed was put in 2012. So
Okay. So they were here first.
they were definitely here first. We need to cut the penstemon back next year. We'll let the frost get through.
Oh, okay.
We leave the tops on because they sort of protect the tender growth lower down. They're fully hardy, but the new growth can get sort of down. That one's nice, isn't it? A Cerinthe major.
It's lovely. Sort of droplets.
Yeah.
Always looks a bit like scales.
Mhm.
Some of it.
Mhm.
It's enormous, this. Doesn't look like big till you get someone next to it for scale. I'm going to make you stand next to it for